Breaking news out of the Hill newspaper in Washington, D.C. It reports Democrat insiders are now worried the Justice Department probing California Governor Gavin Newsom's inner circle, including his wife's taxes and her nonprofits, that is going to hurt his run for the White House. The probe was triggered by whistleblowers in California in 2022 under Joe Biden. Joining us now, Fox News My View with Lara Trump host Lara Trump. We're happy we got the technical difficulties figured out with Lara earlier, along with Fox News contributor Joe Concha. Thanks so much for coming on. Joe, first to you. What do you make of the Hill newspaper here?
I think that this is very serious for Gavin Newsom, Elizabeth and Laura, because you look at polling, for example. The last four that I've seen, it's Gavin Newsom trailing Kamala Harris, who isn't exactly, the Caitlin Clark of presidential candidates, by 22 points, 19 points, 17 points, 18 points. And then you hear about these investigations where, again, $340 million in donations from wealthy donors, special interests, some of which receive preferential treatment, and millions of dollars in state contracts, all in being propped up or propping up the political activities of Jennifer Newsom. This Daily Mail investigation, by the way, also another one, found that she was paying herself, Jennifer Newsom was, since 2012, $3.7 million to run this charity. So this smells bad, it looks bad, and Gavin Newsom certainly going in the wrong direction because, again, when you have the highest poverty, tax, unemployment rate in the country, and oh, by the way, you've only rebuilt two homes in the Malibu and Palisades areas. There's not a record to run on, and right now there's not a lot of integrity, it seems to be there either, as far as the way he's run his administration, and his wife for that matter. What
Joe just said, it's sort of like pulling the thread on a massive Democrat machine of Lara, that where they think this stuff that they do, the way the state is run, is normal. And to what Joe said, Gavin Newsom got special interest groups to donate over $340 million to Newsom's pet projects. More than $4.4 million went to his wife's nonprofit. This is California's controversial behested payment system. What do you make of this? I mean, Steve Hilton calls it literally corruption in plain sight. He's running for governor, and as Joe pointed out, some of the donations came from corporations or groups politically connected to Newsom, or they had state business before in Sacramento.
Yeah, I actually have Steve Hilton on my show this weekend, and I asked him about this, and he said, look, it's just like everything else with Gavin Newsom. He's trying to blame it all on Donald Trump, which is basically the only thing that we've heard from him so far. He's saying that the DOJ is weaponized against him because Donald Trump is somehow nervous he's going to run for president. Gavin Newsom's been running for president for 6 years, and in that time as California's governor, look at what he did to that state. The fact is that he has lost electoral votes for that state because so many people left under his tenure as governor. He allowed parts of California to literally burn to the ground, and he's run business after business out of the state as well. Yes, even the film industry. The one thing that California is really known for is leaving California because of Gavin Newsom. But of course, if you put a camera in front of this guy's face and ask him to talk about any of these problems or this DOJ investigation for that matter, he's going to blame it on Donald Trump. He is literally the boy who cried Trump. It is all Gavin Newsom knows.
Okay, now to this story that we were trying to talk to Lara about earlier. Joe Biden bragging to Jay Leno while driving a gas-powered car around Los Angeles about how he tried to kill off the U.S. oil and gas industry, undercutting U.S. energy independence, and then outraging environmentalists. Joe Biden downplaying and making fun of the idea that windmills and wind farms kill birds. They kill 1 million annually, including eagles. Joe, let's get your reaction to this. Watch.
Well, the other thing I was able to do, I made sure there could be no oil drilling off the East Coast, the West Coast, and 150 miles off the Gulf of Mexico. He's doing it with all of that protection, too. No more windmills.
Yeah,
because they kill birds.
Yeah, I know.
Give me a freaking.
I'm going to get Lara's reaction in a second. Joe, what's your reaction to what you just heard?
I think that if we want to be energy independent, maybe drilling offshore would be a good idea, whether it be West Coast, East Coast, or the Gulf of Mexico. And there you have the former president bragging about this. Gas prices went through the roof under Biden. Now they're coming down under Trump, only went up because of the Iran war. So to brag about that, talk about windmills, I don't know. I think many Democrat voters and Democrats in inner circles, the power people, want the Bidens to go away. Jill, Hunter, and Joe. It's a reminder of 2024 and the disaster that was for the party.
You know, to what Joe said, you know, Lara, under President Trump, the U.S. is now the world's biggest oil and energy exporter. That's a big reversal when America depended heavily on Middle Eastern crude. The U.S. energy was a big factor in helping the U.S. deal with the Iran conflict. What do you think?
Absolutely. It is one of the most powerful things we can be is a nation that is a net energy exporter. It gives us such leverage, Liz, whenever we look around the world at different situations. Look how it has played into the entire situation in the Middle East, as you just referenced. But it's pretty amazing. I hope they retrofitted that gas-guzzling car as an electric vehicle or something for Joe Biden to get into it. Pretty fresh to hear him talk about this, driving around, of course, in that vehicle. And I think that was maybe his last executive order as president. He was bragging about there. Don't forget, his first executive order as president was cutting off the Keystone XL pipeline. So from day one to the last day in office, Joe Biden was trying to undercut Americans by, you know, pulling the rug out from under us with energy. And it was absolutely devastating to our entire country.
Lara Trump, Joe Concha, thank you so much for working with us on those stories tonight. It's great to see you.